Eyesight is there, the high drive, deep center, go, 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 we're out of here, we're out of here, say ya, playa.
Just like they drew it up in Hollywood, Caladros, the 3-2, swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! And this is it for good! The Audubon Green Wave are back in the Final Four! A gold pile on their side!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DW Broadcasting's coverage of men's varsity.
From our entire crew, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rob Waddell Gymnasium as we've got the consolation game of the Pittman Holiday Tournament between the Caravel Buccaneers and the Paulsboro Red Raiders. Of course, this is our second of 3 games today. Our first was Shallock and Gloucester, a game where Gloucester basically took the opening buzzer and never looked back. They won by 20 points. I think it was actually 19, I apologize, 63-44. And now we've got 2 games that have the prospect of being more exciting. Of course, Paulsboro lost by double digits to Pittman in their first round game back on the 27th last Friday. We went into the weekend. We had a couple days off, and then we came back with Caravel now facing Paulsboro and Triton playing Pittman in the 6 o'clock championship game. While we do shift over to the main board, let's take a look at the starting lineups for both sides here this afternoon into the evening at Rob Waddell Gymnasium. Caravel just got introduced. We'll talk about them first. It's going to be Mike Sheehan, who dropped 22 points versus the Triton Mustangs on Friday. He joins Jacob Goldstein at the guard spot, Isaac Chukwara, number 2, Brady Thompson, number 4, and Quan Lee, number 21, takes another forward spot here this Monday afternoon. And then for Darius Quarles, the former St. Joe's alum who is coaching Paulsboro again this year, let's take a look at what he's got written up. He's got 3 forwards and 2 guards. Those 2 guards, Ty Hodges and Malachi McKenzie. And then the 3 forwards, Jamal Robinson, Davon Kersey, and Stephen Lane. Of course, they are without one of their leading scorers from last year, Eric Scott, who is out with some kind of injury that has left him on crutches. He's there on the left side of your screen. Obviously, whatever injury he suffered, a big hamper for the Red Raiders during what will be his senior year. Paulsboro on the left side of your screen in the bright red jerseys with white numbers, and Caravel on the right side of your screen in the white jerseys that they wore on Friday and the maroon accents. We're here from Pittman High School. Should be a good one as Triton and Pittman will follow at 6 o'clock. And both of these teams' number 4s, Davon Kersey and Brady Thompson, waiting under the tip, and we are underway. Malachi McKenzie gets the first possession for Paulsboro. Moving this one over to McKenzie, still near the volleyball line. Just trying to find a rhythm here in the early going in the first play as Stephen Lane fouled on the left hand. And the first shot of the afternoon will result in a trip to the free throw line. Paulsboro 2-2 this year. They suffered their second loss in a row when they lost by double digits to Pittman back on Friday. They won their first games of the season easily. 5 points over Pennsgrove and 17 points over Collingswood. 58-41 was the final of that one. Mike Sheehan rattles it in from the corner. And Delaware's got their first points of the evening. It's 3-2 Buccaneers. Hodges, man-to-man coverage here as McKenzie tries to wiggle through everybody, unable to bring it down, and Chukwara's got a rebound. It's back to Lee. Sheehan going inside. Like we said, he dropped 26 versus Triton in Caravel's 72-69 loss, including 5 threes. And this will send Chukwara to the line. You know, it's funny. The first game we did this morning, it was 11:30, Shallock Gloucester. There were no fouls in the first quarter. Now we've gotten 2 in a minute. That one goes for Chukwara. As we said, Paulsboro 2 wins to start the year over Pennsgrove and Collingswood. They lost by 13 to Haddonfield, which Haddonfield themselves, even though they had to replace basically their entire starting lineup, not appearing to miss a beat. They're 4-1 this season. That shot went under the basket after both free throws were made. 3-point lead for Caravel. Hodges trapped in the lane, and don't know if it was a foul, but either way, it's a turnover as Goldstein's going to bring this one in for Caravel. Bounce pass. Another one to Goldstein. Hugging the line. Back to Lee. And a walk is called. Hodges passes to Lane. Back to Hodges. Lane's got it. Puts it up for three. Too long. Off the right side of the window. A bounce pass. Paulsboro is able to hang on to it, and now Hodges is able to reset. One foul each for each team here in the early going. Still 5-2 Caravel and a bit of a scoring lull. It's McKenzie looking for an opportunity to get Paulsboro within one. McKenzie taking it himself. Hard contact. He gets denied. And a corner three from Sheehan goes. 6-point lead for the Buccaneers as Sheehan drills his second from outside. He's got 6 points here in the early going. And a quick pass inside, and Kersey had the ball when a foul was called. Looks like this one is against Caravel. Paulsboro getting a new sub into the game, number 11, Jayon Gardner, who we saw decent minutes from back on Friday. Don't forget, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting opens up the new year of 2025 with an Olympic Conference matchup between Bishop Eustis and Cherokee at 6:30 p.m. on January 2nd. Then we go to Saturday, January 4th for non-league action between the Collingswood Panthers and the Pennsauken Indians. Passes it out to Gardner. Left hand floater. He gets fouled. The shot did not go. In a very foul-heavy first quarter, at least in the first 2 minutes, 50 seconds. And Gardner, the newest sub into the game for the Red Raiders, will head to the line. Paulsboro trailing by 6 here in the early going. I mean, right now where it stands in not only South Jersey Group 1, but also in the Colonial Conference, just kind of a weird start to the season for everybody, really. You know, South Jersey Group 2 got shook up by Camden losing to Bishop Eustis. You know, didn't affect the non-publics as much as it did Group 2. But Paulsboro right now is actually in the 11 spot, and they are basically tied with Clayton at 2-2. But it's kind of like where if you were to look at an NFL playoff picture after Week 4, like, yeah, Burlington City right now is 5-0, and they're the number 1 seed, but I highly doubt that they remain the number 1 seed with the competition that's there. Now, a team that has a chance to actually stay in the top 3 seeds this year is Haddon Township. They are incredibly good with Patty McNamara. They have some incredible talent. I saw them back on, I think it was Saturday, with Axel Moore, Caven McGovern. They have some excellent guys, and Peter Black as well, very traditional point guard. That ball gets swiped away from Chuck Wara on a bounce pass. Gardner can't let it fall. And Chuck Wara gets the rebound, the small forward. Now this one goes back to Lee in the lane, rattles it in, and Caravel is the first to double digits. But yeah, in South Jersey Group 1 right now, the top 5 is Burlington City, Haddon Township, Audubon, Pittman. Now, Pittman had the 2 seed last year, and Kip Cooper Norcross, which is in the 5 seed at the moment, is the reigning number 1 seed, and that number 1 versus number 2 matchup of Pittman and Kip Cooper was the sectional final from last year. And then last year's 3 seed, Salem, is all the way down at the 6th spot. And then you look at guys like Palmyra in the 9, Woodstown at 8, Riverside at 7. And then on the outside looking in, Shalleck, who we saw today, drops to 1 and 5. They're in the 17 slot. And then Glassboro as well, 1 and 4. Right now, the last 3 teams in, Woodbury, who's at 1 and 4, had a very promising start to the season with some new transfers coming in, including Jaden Farmer. And along with that, first free throw misses from number 0, Jamal Robinson. And along with that, you know, we were talking with Coach DeRogeris, and they were very ambitious with their scheduling. They're playing the Patrick School. They're playing Rancocas Valley. They're playing a couple other teams from Philadelphia and Delaware. I believe Shipley is one of them. As that one banks in, 10-3 here midway through the first quarter. But, I mean, what was a very promising offseason for Woodbury has been a very slow start to the actual regular season. We've got a scramble. Jamal Robinson gets helped up. As Caravel, despite holding a 7-point lead here in the early going, is already on their 4th foul of the quarter. Bounce pass. Rebound doesn't. It does go to Paulsboro. Feeds it out. And look at Ty Hodges. He was livid that the ball did not go to him. Pass gets heaved across the floor to Sheehan. Oh, he got hit there. And a walk is going to be called. Wow. I'm surprised that was not a foul there. Felt like he got tugged down by the jersey. So certainly interesting nonetheless. That one goes out of bounds. But yeah, just looking at last year, I mean, Wildwood not having the start that they wanted. They're right now in the 13 spot after being in the 4 seed last year. Paulsboro is hanging around right where they were in last year's playoffs at the 10 seed. Woodbury went from the 8 seed to the 14. And then, like we said, Burlington City was the number 16 seed last year at 5-20. Well, guess what? They're already 5-0. They have matched their win total from last year just in the month of December. Chuck Wara sends a man down. Hodges glides across the half-court line, and a walk is going to be called there on Hodges. Handful of travels here in the first quarter. Just right now, what I seem to be getting from this is a little bit of undisciplined basketball. Not to say that they're playing bad basketball, but some heavy fouls in the first quarter. Handful of travels, and another one. Mike Tobin expressing his displeasure with the Buccaneers. Like we said, they're 4-3 on the year, and they've actually played their fair share of South Jersey schools. Like we said, on Friday, they played Triton, lost in a squeaker, 72-69. Oh, getting hit there near the backcourt line, bobbling it to Gardner on a hard, aggressive press. Gardner gets the ball stripped away from him. And now he finally finds some space for Ty Hodges. The fact that they were able to pull that off is incredible to me. Hodges moving inside, and it rattles in, 10-5. Man, what a weird possession there. Seemed like everybody's just stripping the ball away from each other. Fires a pass to Garrett Bone in the corner. Ball goes out of bounds. Ty Hodges bringing it up the floor with 1:40 left in the first. A long first quarter, to say the least. 1 foul against Paulsboro, 4 against the Buccaneers as they possess a 10-5 lead. Hodges on the underhand, unable to get it, and a foul is called. Mike Tobin not happy at all. It does send number 0, Jamal Robinson, to the line. He misses his first. That does put Caravel on the bonus. Five fouls against Buccaneers here with 1:25 left. They get the offensive rebound after the missed free throw and bank it in for 2. 3-point game, 10-7. Robinson, the junior forward, logging some more points there. There is a foul. Paulsboro ball. Never mind, not a foul, but I know they did call it a foul. My bad. Got a little bit confused in the shuffle there. Jamal Robinson with 91 rebounds in his career. Not a very high scorer. He only has 51 points going into this contest and hasn't scored more than 4 this year. Says he went out of bounds. Mike Tobin, after the incident there, seems to be laughing it out with his referee co-partner there. That one goes. And the Buccaneers, after a scoring lull here in the first, are back on the board, 12-7. Gardner looks for space, and oh, there you go. Speaking of Jamal Robinson, unable to get it. They'll get maybe a third chance as the ball gets ripped away, and no jump ball. That's a foul. Wasn't sure if they were going to call a foul there or a jump ball, but after Samaj Stone had it, ended up going in the Buccaneers' favor. Goldstein inbounds. It gets passed to Lee. They'll go back and forth here. 25 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Lee gets it across the floor to Goldstein on a hard press. Floated from the free throw line. It rolls out. Second chance for Chuck Wara, and after a couple of laps, it goes in. They'll have 12 seconds left, 14-7. Touchdown and a PAT out. They got to bring this one down the floor for the last play of the first. They heave it across to Gardner. Double press. No whistle. Finally, the whistle gets called for a travel with 1 second left in the first quarter. Exactly 1 second, 14-7. They'll have 1 second to heave. Oh my goodness, that was close. Malachi McKenzie almost sent this place into a frenzy with a 1 second heave. Unable to get it off though. And at the end of the first, Caravel up by 7. A bit of a contentious first quarter, as even though the Buccaneers had the edge, they do pick up a bonus. We'll be right back. At the end of the first, it is Caravel 14, Paulsboro 7. End of the first quarter, entering the second. Mark Tobin and his crew, Caravel, up by 7 over the Paulsboro Red Raiders. couple of new faces in the game for the Buccaneers after some hard pressure and a foul. Number 22, Kingston Hicks. Saw a lot of him back on Friday. On the floor right now for the Buccaneers is Goldstein, Lee, Hicks, Chukwura, and number 24, Samaj Stone. Another foul. I mean, it feels like night and day from what we saw on Friday. You know, I gave the crew a little bit of praise for the fact that both of the first round Friday games seemed very light on fouls. And it almost felt like, you know, it was a boys have at it situation. This game obviously seems different. Not that it's a critique or anything, but just an observation that this game has certainly been different from what Caravel saw versus Triton on Friday and what Paulsboro saw versus Pittman later that night. Hard contact again. There's a third foul and another and one to go along with it. We've got 3 fouls in 24 seconds. That's a foul every 8 seconds. We might get quadruple bonuses by the end of the quarter. I don't know, but I joke. Malachi McKenzie at the line. He makes it. 15-9. Lead has been cut to 6 for the Buccaneers. Goldstein passing it back to Hicks. Goldstein again, pump fakes, heaves it across the floor with some tips. Quarles telling his guys, go straight up. Corner, Hicks, 3, got it. It takes a victory lap around the rim, and it's now an 18-10 lead in favor of the Buccaneers as they lead here in the early going of this consolation game by 8 points. Their biggest lead. Oh, that ball gets taken away. However, how about that? Timeout gets called. I believe Paulsboro was the one that called that timeout. Darius Quarles, the former St. Joe's grad, is the one who called it. We will be right back as the Buccaneers have their biggest lead so far of this third place game, 18-10.
Ryan Nutley, who has 3 RBIs so far, is up on deck as here's a fly ball at the center field, going back to the wall. It is gone! 3-run home run, Steve Schaefer. He rockets one out, and it's 9-2. First home run for Schaefer this year, the second hit at home by a Scarlet Raptor.
Welcome back to the Rob Waddell Gymnasium, right here in the heart of Gloucester County, home of the Pittman Panthers, South Jersey Group 1 sectional champions. From the 2023 to 24 season, they won on the road at Kip Cooper Norcross Academy in the heart of Camden. 20 to 25 minutes up the road here from Pittman. But Paulsboro and Caravel is the story of the day as that ball gets behind everybody. Caravel, when Quan Lee passes, and it goes to Hicks, who on a second chance, unable to get it. We had everybody going in for that ball. I think even 2 Paulsboro players were going for the same real estate. I could be wrong, but just looking off of what my naked eye tells me. I mean, wow. Very contentious drive to start the second quarter. As again, Caravel possessing their largest lead so far of the early going, 18-10 over Paulsboro in the third place game. That's worth 2. Instead, after the rebound, it's worth 0. It's Lee. Stutter stepping across midcourt. Looking for an opportunity to extend this lead to double digits. Takes a fall, and a walk will be called against Caravel. I think some could have argued that that might have been a flop, but I'm not one to make the decisions. 18-10. 6:13 left in the half. Feeds it out into the corner for three. Got it. Knocks it down from the right wing. And now Hicks loses the ball immediately after a full court heave. Here goes another one in transition. Bounce pass to McKenzie. He gets fouled on his way up. And Malachi McKenzie will go to the line for two as his shot went straight up. First shot from McKenzie is good. 18-14. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School, right here in the heart of Pittman. Some of these players on the floor are freshmen and sophomores, and you know what? They're going to need to take their driving test soon. I don't know what the age to get a driver's license in Delaware is. I know in Jersey it's 17. Vince, you're looking at me like you know the answer. I know we both don't know the answer. I know in Jersey it's you get your permit at 16 and a half and you get your license at 17 if you pass everything. That one went across the backcourt. Hodges to McKenzie. It's good. 1 point game. But yeah, let's continue. Mike, I keep saying Mike Tobin. There's somebody I know named Mark Tobin. But Tobin calls a timeout for the Buccaneers. We'll stay on the air because we got to finish this ad read. Like we were saying, over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite E of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman, right off of Lambs Road. I was going to say, maybe the Harper Driving School might be a little bit out of range for our friends over in Bear. But, look, Delaware is a good state, you know, and we got a follow today from a Delaware high school sports podcast. They were talking a lot about, I was listening to them earlier on my way down here, and they were talking about Deshaun Jackson, who recently, I think it was yesterday, announced that he was becoming the head coach at Delaware State, the Hornets. Yeah, I know Michael Vick's at Norfolk State. He's over there in Virginia, but two great FCS programs, the Hornets and whatnot. I think Norfolk State is the Spartans. This one's into the corner. Too short for Sheehan, but the second chance for Chukwara goes. But, you know, one of the things that podcast was talking about was that Deshaun Jackson, as head coach of Delaware State, should not ignore the great high school talent that exists in Delaware athletics. That one's out of bounds. But, you know, I think it's important to note that I don't really think any state should be discounted for their high school athletic prowess. You know, we talk about Jersey sometimes, and we talk about how Jersey is, you know, more or less a baseball-dominated state. Some of the best talents to come out of Jersey athletically are baseball. And that's obviously somewhat disputed, but for a state as small as Delaware, they do have some great programs. You know, I watch sometimes the DIAA high school football championships. You know, it's interesting to see how a state as small as Delaware operates in terms of athletic competitions at the state level, especially considering you've got two major cities, Wilmington and Newark. You could argue Dover as well, but that's mostly a college town with the Hornets of Delaware State. Visited there a couple times, have not been to the racetrack there. But it's 20-17 with 5 minutes left in the first half. This one goes across the floor. Gardner in trouble, and it's off the left side of the pane of glass. No good there. Feeds it over to Lee. Sheehan in the corner. He likes that corner a lot. That time no good. Oh, wow. Jump ball. Off the inbound for three, off the front of the rim for Lee. Hodges finding some space in transition. Caravel falls on top of the ball, and now Tobin calls another timeout. He has burned his second as Caravel calls a timeout, and Ty Hodges is hurt. John Marcucci coming out. as Hodges might have taken a hard fall there. Brady Thompson was the one who fell on top of the ball and waited for a couple of seconds for Tobin to call a timeout, but hopefully he is okay. We'll take a quick break. 20-17 as Caravel burns a timeout here with 4:14 left in the second.
1-0 Red Bank. Now here is Al D'Elia. The man they used to call Big Al has now slimmed down, and he still hits dingers. He went viral in 2018 for his catchphrase during the Little League World Series when he was introduced by the ESPN camera crews and was given his standard introduction. He said, "Hi, my name's Big Al, and I hit dingers." And that sentiment still holds true today. He had his first career high school home run versus Rumson Fairhaven in their opening game of the campaign last week. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. But D'Elia, kind of a folk hero for baseball players who just want to hit the ball far and have fun while doing it. The poster child now is the poster big fella. Fly ball right center field. This is going to be a sac fly. Taken in by Terranova, and Big Al might not hit dingers, but he certainly drives in runs. It's 2-0.
20-17, Caravel leads the Paulsboro Red Raiders. I'm Dan Wilkins with Vincent Folk up here at the, I wouldn't call it a booth, but we're in the top row of the bleachers here at the Rob Waddell Gymnasium. Hope you all are having a wonderful New Year's Eve. Chukwara passes it to Lee. Tries to find space in the lane, and he is fouled on his way up. Darius Quarles, hands overhead, trying to decipher. A three-point game after earlier in the quarter, Caravel led by 8. Lee has the first touch off the inbound. Bounce pass to Chukwara. Chukwara bobbles it. Ball rattles out. Now it's McKenzie. Tries to get swiped at from the back by Sheehan. Going in, McKenzie rattles in. 1-point game. Malachi McKenzie under pressure. Now it's Sheehan in the lane. Reverse. And Mike Sheehan forcing forward with the right hip. The ability to make that play work as it's 22-19 and another travel will be called. Not the first time that's happened, and most likely not the last. Just seems like mostly that this has been a game of a little bit unvarnished basketball. That one rocks in. Goldstein, 25-19. Another jump ball. And Robinson gets helped up again. They're going to sub in another player for the Red Raiders on the floor. That will be number 13, Jeremiah Carr. As we said before, as we said on Friday, Carr received national attention for a catch he made versus Pensgrove in Week 0 of the football season. And it actually appeared on an NFL TV segment called You Got Mossed. And you almost got dunked on. I thought Thompson was going to go all the way there, but he did not. Basket still counts, obviously. Just no fun dunking here. And it's 27-19. We've got a foul. Caravel gets hit there. That's their third team foul. This is going to be against Chukwara as he picks up his second personal foul. Garrett Bone is going to check back in. Don't forget, later tonight, the championship game of the Pittman Holiday Tournament will come to a head. as it will be Triton and Pittman. Some of the fans from the Pittman side already starting to file in preparation for this game, and that one's going to go. McKenzie will go to the line again. Yeah, so we just got, it's the Delaware High School football pod. John Busby and Marty Sheehan. Busby, the voice of Wilmington University women's basketball. We covered Wilmington University. Oh, no. Oh, no. Mike Sheehan hit the ground hard. Somehow he's back on his feet. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you could... Wow. And somehow Sheehan is inbounding the ball. I was incredibly concerned there. I don't know how to feel about that one. Lee, pump fakes, moves inside from the right hand, and it just shakes in. I just don't know if I've ever seen that before. I mean, with all due respect, I mean, Sheehan's head hit the ground, and nothing got called there. But as we were saying, we covered Wilmington University as a part of work we did with Salem Community College back in October of last year. We were down in Wilmington at some community park. They were hosting a softball showcase for Division III universities and JUCOs. And trying to think, I think it was Salem and might have been Chesapeake. The Chesapeake, I can't even remember what they're called, but that was the first game of the day. And then Salem played Division II, Wilmington. In the second game, they lost that one 11-1, if I recall correctly. But those were all fall scrimmages. That didn't actually count in any sort of standings. It's just a way for them to rack up more game experience as the players enter their fall semester, just like, you know, football players would do with their spring football games in their programs. This one feeds out into the corner for Goldstein from the pass from Garrett Bone. The shot falls, and Caravel has their first double-digit lead of the evening, and it comes with 1.5 minutes left in the first half, and another travel is called on Paulsboro. Bone passes this one out to Lee. Goldstein flying through the air, finally gets a runway to land on, and it's at the 2-point basket. It's 34-22. McKenzie spins, guarded by Bone. We've got contact and a foul. I think that's going to be, yeah, that'll be the 5th against Caravel, so that puts them at the bonus for Paulsboro as they look to cut the gap before the half. That one goes. Under a minute to play in the second quarter. That ball almost got stolen away by Paulsboro, but then another foul is called. Again, the irony of me talking about how the first two games in the first round was a light foul first half, and basically there were no bonuses in the first round of any quarter except for the fourth. And here we are in the second quarter with a very foul-heavy second quarter. That first shot from the free throw line goes for number 24, Samaj Stone. And that one. The shot gets waved off for a violation. The shot would have been good, but instead it gets erased, and it's an 11-point game, 35-24. .45 seconds left. Hodges with contact. Feeds it out to McKenzie. Pump fakes from beyond. Bounce pass to Hodges. He moves inside to the baseline. We've got a blocking foul on Garrett Bone. If you're just joining us, Caravel Academy led by 8 at the end of the first, and now they are up by 11, 35-24. That lead just got cut to 10 on the free throw from Ty Hodges. Class of 2025, as the senior guard drills both. 316 points for Hodges in his junior year. He's at 51 this year. Scored 21 along with 7 assists in a 59-46 loss to Haddonfield back on the 19th. Goldstein gets called for a walk. You could see him there. He took accountability there. He pointed at his chest. He said, "That's my bad." And sometimes that's what makes a very good basketball team, is player responsibility and self-accountability. You know, holding yourself to the same standards as everybody else. You know, when you have a mistake and you know it didn't benefit your team. McKenzie with contact in the lane, it falls, and it's a 7-point lead. 5 seconds left. Sheehan bounce passes, and now the clock will stop with 1.2 seconds remaining, just like how the first quarter ended. And now it looks like the first half will end in the exact same way. Goldstein will inbound. He gets a lot of space. Bounce pass into the corner for 3, and it's an air ball. Valiant effort, but that ends the first half. After 2, it's 35-28, a 7-point lead for Caravel. Their largest lead has been 10, but Paulsboro has kept them close and has not let them run away with this thing for Mark Tobin and crew. And we will be back in 10 minutes or so with the third and fourth quarters of this third-place game from the Rob Waddell Gymnasium.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
One nothing.
He's donning the number 34 and the shortstop for this one. First pitch. There's a line drive into center field. That one is going to drop it. It's going to go to the outfield wall. 1 run will score. Spence is going to make a huge arc around third. She will score to make it 3-0. And here comes the runner to score. It's an inside the park home run for Ella Hayes to make it a 4-0 game, a 3-run inside the Parker to the 2. It will be inbounded by Pat Monahan. Oh, the ball gets away. Who's going to have it? GCIT will hang on to the possession. It goes to Stanwood. Stanwood inside. They'll get the shot off. It's good! Unbelievable! Boston calls the timeout, but will they get it? Unbelievable! Unbelievable! A double contest shot from Hellman! Wow. Ryan James wanted the timeout, but did they get it in time?
BB and Copsetta trading a couple looks. They know what's going on. Full count. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons in the Ralph Shaw Classic 26th annual. They are back on top for the first
And welcome back here, starting the second half from Pittman High School. We've got Caravel 35, Paulsboro 28 in the third place game. By the way, thanks to all our viewers from Delaware tuning in for the first time. We mostly dabble in South Jersey athletics, some in Central Jersey. And I know you guys from Delaware are great folks. Been there plenty of times, to say the least. But thank you all for tuning in, and thanks for spreading the word to your family and friends about watching the game today. I think what has done Caravel good in terms of how they've played in this first half is just being consistent. They can shoot well from beyond, they can shoot well from inside, and they can drive to the basket very well. Of course, I think Paulsboro would be leading this game if they had Eric Scott. I mean, not to belittle the other players on the Paulsboro team, but Eric Scott is an incredible forward. He's in his senior year. I don't know what injury he has, but he's down there on the sideline in crutches. So whatever it is, it's obviously a lengthy injury. So obviously wishing him the best. But at the same time, you know, I think this game and this tournament would be looking a little bit different if Eric Scott was in it. Maybe even the seeding would be a little bit different. But the way that it's looking right now for Paulsboro is that they have to find ways to just drive to the basket and just try to create some space. Right now, they're not in any space. You see Hodges and McKenzie driving to the basket and going inside, but you've got 2 or 3 guys all around them that are just shoulder checking and doing everything. It's tough defense. It really is physical defense, and I like it that way. But this game has been very foul heavy, and it seems like there's a little bit of a lack of discipline on both sides. So maybe it's canceling out. Maybe it's a way to kind of level the playing field a little bit. But for Caravel, they cannot get too unvarnished in this second half. They have to play a little bit cleaner to keep this lead where it is and maybe grow upon it. So I'm going to go right back behind the camera, and we're going to have 16 more minutes of Delaware versus Jersey crossover basketball here. Quan Lee takes the inbound from Mr. James Goldstein. Feeds it back out across the floor. Lee pump fakes. Back to Goldstein. Back to Chekwara. To Lee. Three ball. Goldstein knocks it down. Moving in. Paulsboro unable to make it. Had a couple of balls flying in the air there. And now from the corner, Lee. 6 quick points in the first 45 seconds of the half. And that one falls for the Red Raiders. Like I said, Paulsboro down by 11. It's their largest lead for the Buccaneers so far. Hodges taking his time. Looking for an opportunity, looking to find something to go right here as McKenzie in the corner. Couldn't get it, and a jump ball is called. Triple coverage on the baseline. Tries to throw it out. Looks like this will be Caravel ball. No, it will be Paulsboro ball. But they're putting the pressure on. I'm telling you, the Buccaneers, they are putting the pressure on. By the way, we do have a Venmo at DW Broadcasting. We're not being paid for this game. Most of this I do to help myself, I'm a college freshman at Rowan College of South Jersey, a local 2-year program here in the South Jersey area. And I plan to transfer to Rowan University in Glassboro after 2 years. Obviously not required, because this is free to watch for all, free to consume for the public. But if you would like to contribute, our Venmo is at DW Broadcasting. No spaces, no hyphens. Again, all of this goes towards my college fund and also towards expenses like traveling and new equipment and, of course, gas money. This is about a 25-minute drive for us. from back home. And, you know, even for those games that are around the corner, those miles do add up. So it is incredibly appreciated, but of course, not at all required. Ty Hodges on top of the Panther logo. Rolling this one out to the left side, saving some time here in the third quarter. He's double pressed. Now it's just one-on-one with Lee. He rolls around the court, back to McKenzie, who knocks it down. That was a great case of just taking the situation into his own hands. He was in double coverage. That ball gets deflected into the fourth row. But, you know, what it was, you know, he's moving inside. He's moving towards the baseline, and he just blows past everybody. And he finds a man in McKenzie in the corner. And now McKenzie again deflects it. Caravel ball, looks like. Looks like they will hang on to the possession. Passes it to Lee. Lee near the backcourt line, back to Stone. Now it's Lee. 3 ball off the front of the rim, misses the mark. Passes it to McKenzie. He gets blocked by Quan Lee. And it's now Malachi McKenzie bringing this one over to Hodges. McKenzie in the corner. Pump fake gets past Chukwara. Robinson rips it away, and it falls. No rim needed. And it is 41-35. Paulsboro, after being down by double digits, closing the lead to 6. Making it a little bit more formidable for them here. Sheehan from the corner, passes it, and that throw gets away. Kind of a replica of the Charlotte game from earlier with a pass destined for nowhere. By the way, whatever injury happened to Eric Scott seemed to happen in the Collingswood game back on December 17th. Bounce pass. Rattles out. McKenzie has room. 3. That one's to the left. Robinson goes down but quickly gets back up. This one is passed to Lee. Into the corner. Goldstein. Too short. It's Lee who comes up with it after the scramble. Corner. Air ball. Looks like Caravel touched it last. At least I think it went off the hands of Lee after the 3-ball attempt by number 24, Samaj Stone. Taking a couple of steps there. And it goes for Quan Lee. 43-35. McKenzie driving through the lane. He gets fouled. It's again Malachi McKenzie at the line. McKenzie hits his first. Malachi McKenzie, 144 points as a sophomore. He has scored 16 or more in all 4 of his games this year. 18 versus Penns Grove, 26 versus Collingswood, 16 versus Haddonfield, a game that they lost, and 18 in the loss to Pittman. Here comes the pass to Ty Hodges. He gets fouled. Shot goes off the front. And a couple of fouls coming in here in the middle of the third quarter.
What's the overall foul count? I'll look over here.
43-38. The second shot for Paulsboro rakes out. Look out on the far sideline. Somehow stays in without a whistle. It's Hodges spinning around. Now it's McKenzie. Pump fakes into the paint, and he racks it in. And for the first time in a long time, Paulsboro is back to a one-possession game. It's Bone. Back to Lee. Kind of playing that small forward versatile position, and he knocks it down. 5-point game. 2.5 minutes left in the third. This one's up. Hodges, unsuccessful. And Caravel will have another sub coming in, number 14, LJ Yates. Here with 2 minutes left in the third, 5-point game in favor of the Buccaneers. This is a heave that's going to go all the way down. And Jamal Robinson unable to get that ball squared away. And Garrett Bone will inbound. Bounce pass into the corner, back to Bone, to the top of the key. Throws it off the backboard, and another foul. That's the first foul against Paulsboro in the quarter. That shot goes for Caravel. Hodges taking his time again in the final 100 seconds of the third quarter. 47-40, Hodges moving in. He's got a man open, but he doesn't see him, and it doesn't matter, he got it anyway. Hodges working through the traffic. Make this back to a 5-point game. Caravel 47, Paulsboro 42, and looks like a travel's going to be called. So that will be knocked against the Buccaneers. Hodges over the shoulder of McKenzie as this one goes deep into the backcourt, guarded by Yates. You can see he gets some applause from his bench. Now it's McKenzie all alone. Offensive foul against Paulsboro. as McKenzie drives in the lane with a little too much mustard. Darius Quarles trying to contest his case as an offensive foul charge against Paulsboro is their second of the quarter. Lee feeds it over to Chukwara. He's got it to Yates. Yates too high. He gets an offensive rebound, goes back to Lee. Lee finds a man at Sheehan in the corner. Sheehan deflects to Yates. 50 seconds left. Sheehan from deep. Back to Yates, back to Sheehan. Too much on it. Rolls over the rim, and Chukwara gets it in for back to a 7-point lead. 49-42. Paulsboro with a chance for a couple more possessions here back and forth as we now hit the 30-second mark with the third quarter coming to a close. Hodges straight up. That's a foul. The ball went straight up, but the players did not. So a handful of fouls being accumulated at the tail end of the third quarter. And it's Ty Hodges that will go to the stripe for the Red Raiders as they trail the Buccaneers as they have pretty much all day. By the way, this broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy with the most organic food products available in New Jersey, along with toys, cages, accessories, and much, much more. For more information or to make a purchase, visit 7 days a week at 226 South White Horse Pike in Audubon. And also, if you are interested in advertising with us at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we have affordable advertising packages to bring your small business in front of an audience of 75,000 plus on YouTube, along with over 150,000 social media impressions across Instagram and Twitter. That shot rattles in for Caravel. They're across the 50 mark. It's 51-44. For more information on advertising, if you have an inquiry for us, send us an email at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That email is in the description of this YouTube video. Clock hits 0, unable to get a shot off. And at the end of the third quarter, Caravel still maintaining a consistent lead, but Paulsboro not letting this game slip away. They seem to be playing very competitive basketball, but right now, Caravel has held the lead at the end of the first, second, and now the third. 51-44 at three-quarter time. We'll be right back. Entering the fourth quarter here in Pittman, it is 51-44 Caravel. They've led at the end of the first, the end of the second, and now the end of the third. Quan Lee sets a play, and we'll send this out to Isaac Chukwara. Three ball. No good off the front of the rim. One of the original starting five for the Red Raiders, Stephen Lane, checks back in at the start of the fourth. Again, I'm Dan Wilkins on play-by-play with my producer, Vincent Vogt, the executive producer of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Wishing you all a happy holidays and happy new year as the shot gets waved off. This broadcast is brought to you by Rowan College of South Jersey Roadrunners Athletic Department. Of course, the RCSJ Roadrunners right now sitting at around 500 with Coach Brandon Williams, but perennial championship contenders on the floor and also perennial championship winners in the classroom as well. For more information on how to become an athlete at RCSJ, fill out the prospective athlete form at rcroadrunners.com for the 25 to 26 school year, and follow them on social media platforms at RC Roadrunners. McKenzie immediately fires it to Gardner. Fires it across the way. And I think my experience, honestly, with high school basketball has definitely changed a little bit now that I've got to watch some JUCO college ball. Sheehan knocks that one down. You know, I'm a freshman at college, just turned 19 last month in November. And, you know, what I think is interesting now that I watch these, you know, younger guys, class of 25 and 26, and even the, wow, jump ball. And a jump ball is called. It will be Paulsboro ball. But, yeah, I mean, the way it's – oh, and now a foul's going to be called. Mano-a-mano moment here. Mark Tobin again expressing his displeasure with the call. That's his second team foul, and the second against L.J. Yates. Caravel with a win would improve to 5-3 on the young campaign. Inbounded by Hodges. Bounce pass to Lane, gets rattled around and bobbled a couple times. And it will be a turnover. Caravel ball. For Caravel this year, they had 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 more wins, and then a loss to Triton in the first round back on Friday. They started off the year with a dominant 75-36 win over Aspira, and then a closer win, 56-44 over Brandywine on the road. They played Smyrna, lost that game in their home opener 61-44, and then away at Chichester, I believe, in PA. Lost that one 58-43. They beat Gloucester County Christian back on the 17th of December. Then they beat Tattenall School on the 19th. And in their first game in 8 days was the Triton game on Friday, which is a game that they lost in their closest either margin of victory or margin of loss in the team's record book so far this season. Because they've either won by a lot or lost by a lot. And these 2 games seem to be a departure from that trend. Sheehan misses the layup, rebounded by Hodges after a push and a foul. I think that's going to be called on Sheehan. And for the Red Raiders, they've still got a lot to play for here in 2024. We were talking about before the South Jersey Group 1 PowerPoints. Paulsboro, the 10 seed last year, they're hanging right around where they were. Oh, I got a miscommunication here. They allowed Paulsboro to inbound the ball before they got a player in. Well, Goldstein was going to check in, and then they inbounded the ball, and now they're saying Goldstein can't come in on this play because of the whatever kerfuffle happened there. Not a travel call there, but instead a foul, I believe, against Caravel. I mean, they are dangerously close to a bonus in a 7-point game. That's not what you want. Paulsboro has not had a foul called against them yet. Caravel has 4. Obviously, a contentious fourth quarter here in Pittman. as everything's trying to get sorted out after an odd series of events. Hodges, air balls from 3. This one's heaved across the floor to Quan Lee. He's got room. He goes up, straight up, rebounded by Lane. Now Paulsboro takes a hard hit. We've got players flying everywhere. And we'll see what this foul is called about and who it's on. This is the 5th foul. It gives Paulsboro the bonus. Hold on, what's going on here? Shot goes on the first bonus shot for McKenzie. And now coming in will be number 4. Again, that is Davon Kersey. And now James Goldstein gets to check in for LJ Yates, who in just the 3rd and 4th quarters alone has picked up 3 fouls. For Paulsboro going forward, they actually play on New Year's Eve. They play tomorrow in the Boardwalk Classic, which is down in Wildwood, New Jersey, versus the Clearview Pioneers. And after that, they are home to start the new year versus Haddon Heights, and then they have 2 road games in a row versus Haddon Township and Woodbury. What's shocking to me is that they actually have a 5-game road trip to close the month of January. They are away at Sterling, Highland, Haddonfield, Camden Academy Charter, and Haddon Heights again for a 2-week road trip from the 16th of January to the 30th, to which they are back home to Woodbury. And then 2 more home games, CCTS and Lindenwold, West Deptford on the road, Sterling on the 11th. And to close out the season, they are away at my alma mater, Audubon, home of Joe Flacco, by the way, also a University of Delaware alum. It's 53-48. And for Caravel, going forward for them after this, they play after the new year home to Mount Pleasant. Then they are away at Tri-State Christian in Maryland on the 4th, and then home to Wilmington Christian on the 6th of January. And after that, they have 2 more away games, January 10th, and I'm sure the Delaware folks are going to love my pronunciation of this. Appoquinimink. I think that I'm butchering that. I absolutely think I'm butchering that. Appoquinimink on the 10th, and then Elkton, a school we've heard of in Maryland, on the 13th. Polytech and Tome School are the next 2 home games after that to close the month of January. A high pass into the corner. Just over 5 minutes left, a high floater. Caravel got a hand on it and unable to get it through. Sheehan, corner, Goldstein. Can't get it to go. And I think Caravel got a hand on it. Coming in will be Yates again, who, like we said, has been reeled into some foul trouble. And he checked in for the first time early in the 3rd. And he is at 3 fouls. That inbound pass is unable to get contact further. 53-48, 5:04 left in the 3rd. In the 4th. Long day for all of us and long winter break. Bounce pass. Corner. Inside. Chakwara unable to get it to fall. Now it's McKenzie in transition, loses the basketball, and it goes out of bounds. And Eric Scott is the one who picked that one up. Goldstein checks out for the Buccaneers. Back in is number 23, which would be J.D. Devane. Paulsboro has it. Hodges burns past 2 of them, 3 of them. Oh, he got blocked. Hodges is able to reset without issue. Moving into the corner. Lane, 3, takes the victory lap. And this is the closest Paulsboro has been since the tip. 53-51 is Caravel, for the second game in a row down here in the Pittman Classic, is looking for a way to win one. Jump ball. I mean, you know, you would hate it for Caravel to come here 45 minutes to an hour from Delaware, from Bear, and lose both of their games. With that being said, Paulsboro will be at the line for Stephen Lane, who now with 2 points behind them, a chance to tie the game. First shot unsuccessful from Lane, and that leaves the door open. I mean, let me preface that by saying the door is wide open here with 4 minutes left in the game. I mean, it is as open as can be, with Caravel's biggest lead coming in the third quarter at 11. And that lead has now been cut to 2. It was 2, now it's 1. A lot of errors in my math here this afternoon. That ball gets rattled away, and it went out of bounds. Stephen Lane, the senior guard, 15 points this year. He has not scored more than 7, which he accomplished with 5 boards versus Pennsgrove. A 50-45 win. As this one goes, Sheehan pump fakes a couple of times, but the ball turns over. Robinson back to Lane and back to Hodges in the backcourt. He crosses over. Stutter step. And, wow, all right. And that will be a turnover for Paulsboro. Caravel ball. Bounce pass. Goldstein. Over into Sheehan's lane, and we've got a travel called. That shot will be void. Things getting a little bit frisky, a little bit chippy here. These guys are right now just trying to find a way to get somebody ahead. Paulsboro, again, has not led at any juncture tonight. Lee makes a man tumble, that being Hodges. Now it's Lee in the lane. He pumps, and it goes. 3-point lead again for the Buccaneers. Hodges working around Goldstein. Sets a play. Under 3 minutes to play in regulation. 3-point game now for Hodges. He had room to shoot. Now he takes it from the elbow, and it rolls in. 55-54. It's back to Lee. Moving inside, traffic. Ball goes off the side of the window. Two minutes, 20 seconds. Hodges loses the ball, and a foul is called. The foul is on Caravel, who, as we said, they've run into foul trouble despite the fact that they have been leading. We saw that in the first quarter where they were up by a decent margin, and yet still ran into a bonus in the first quarter. As we said, Caravel over the bonus. Paulsboro only 1 foul. He misses the first shot. But honestly, maybe a silver lining in the in all of that, considering that this shot would tie the game and kind of reset us all back to square one at 55 apiece. He does make the second, and in turn, Darius Quarles calls a timeout. We are all tied, 55-55. Caravel and Paulsboro in the third place game with 2:18 to play. We'll be right back. Well, for the first time since the tip, this game has been reset to square one. It's 55-55 here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. This has been a thrilling day of action from the Shalleck-Gloucester game earlier this morning, now entering the evening with Caravel and Paulsboro in the third place game of the Pittman Holiday Tournament. Somebody looking to go home with a bronze medal. Lee steps forward, and a foul is called. It appears on Paulsboro. That would be their second team foul. We were talking about Quan Lee earlier. And that foul that time was against Ty Hodges. Quan Lee's name was just up on the scoreboard. He's sitting on 4 fouls this afternoon. Would definitely be a bad sign. One of their most efficient forwards and kind of one of the most versatile players would go down with a foul out. Moving back and then in, one-handed pass into the corner for 3 to break the stalemate. Mike Sheehan drills it. And the Buccaneers retake the lead right back where they started with a 3-ball, 58-55, a minute and a half to play in regulation. How about this? How about them apples? A minute 20 now. Hodges, floater, no good. They'll need 3. Sheehan trying to rip the ball away. He does. Now the ball gets back out. Robinson falls on it with his left hip. Now it goes back for McKenzie for 3. Unable to go. Ball tipped back in the air. Caravel's got a hand on it. It's Sheehan who gets hit from the back. Now it's Lee moving in. Euro step, and it goes for a 2-possession game in the final minute. Under a minute to play, 60-55. Caravel looking to go back home to the first state of the USA with a win. 50 seconds left. A shot from Paulsboro makes it back to a 3-point game. Lee gets fouled. And the foul is on Hodges, who picked up another one earlier in the 4th. And he gets hit with what is now his 3rd personal foul. With that being said, it looks like Mark Tobin calls a timeout. Pittman is ready to go in the tunnel. They're watching this game unfold, and they're hoping that this doesn't go to overtime because they want to start their game on time. And over there to our right, over in the bleachers, is the Triton Mustangs. Coach Ken's an ace of the Mustangs, looking to upset on the home floor. We will take a break. It is 60-57. Caravel in front by 3. Here we go. All comes down to this. Under 40 seconds to play. The ball gets swatted away. Red Raiders in transition. Sheehan guarding. Foul. And one. This gym is rocking on the opposite side as the Red Raiders pick up not only a huge shot in the lane, but they also grab a foul at the expense of Sheehan, who himself is now sitting on 4 fouls, along with another fellow starter of his, Quan Lee, to tie the game. It's good. And Darius Quarles calls a timeout. How about it? It's 60-60. And when Caravel was up by 5, Paulsboro came through in the clutch. Wow, let's stay on the air for just a moment. This broadcast is brought to you by the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, or Dog Wrestling. South Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying action and incredible show-stopping events throughout the Garden State. For more information and ticketing on future events, visit dawgprowrestling.com. Again, that's dawgprowrestling.com. Again, let's look ahead at the schedule on DWB. We ring in the new year with a game in the Olympic Conference between the Bishop Eustace Crusaders and the Cherokee Chiefs on January 2nd. And then we go into the first weekend of 2025 with an 11 a.m. Saturday tip-off in non-league play between the Collingswood Panthers and the Pennsauken Indians. So a little Group 4 versus Group 1 mashed together action there. January 7th, we go back to the Olympic Conference again for a matchup between Cherry Hill East and Eastern. Cherry Hill East just won their crosstown rivalry game against Cherry Hill West. And then on January 8th, we go down to Camden for coverage between CCTS, Camden Tech, and Leap Academy. Right off of the highway, off of 76 there in Camden. Hicks feeds it back to Lee. He goes for 3. No good. Off the mark. Not sure if it was airballed, but Hicks goes in, got a man down, and got a basket in. Caravel takes the lead, and before they can continue, Mark Tobin now calls a timeout. I believe that's his second to last, and that would put both coaches, and yeah, that would be correct. Both coaches are now 1 timeout left, as now this allows Paulsboro to kind of regroup here. I mean, this is honestly a little bit of a, what's the word? A bit of a silver lining for Paulsboro, because with Caravel calling that timeout after they made the shot to go up 2, well, now Darius Quarles and, John Marcucci and all those guys, well, now they can talk it over. Now they can regroup. They have an opportunity to set a new play, because if Quarles is just, yelling out commands, there's 18 seconds on the clock. That's not a situation you want to be in when you know you got to tie the game. So Tobin calling that timeout is kind of doing a favor to Quarles and to Paulsboro there, giving them the opportunity with a full timeout, not only for Caravel to allow their team to regroup on defense, but allowing Paulsboro to cook up something new on the offensive side. It's a 2-point game. Ty Hodges taking his time. 10 seconds remain on the clock. The crowd starts to count down. Hodges moving in. He has not passed the ball yet. Will Quarles call a timeout? He will. And there's 3.2 seconds on the clock. That will be Quarles' last timeout. And I don't know. Maybe they need this second regrouping here. But if Paulsboro doesn't win this game, I think that play right there could have been the deciding play. Because you had 18 seconds on the clock. Hodges inbounded the ball, and then 15 seconds passed. Nobody got the ball. Nobody else was even open. Caravel just locked them down on defense. And that might have been a situation where, kind of looking for a needle in a haystack, an opportunity for Caravel to win this game and take home third, kind of out of thin air. They've been battling to stay up all day. Not that they've been playing bad at all. They've been playing great basketball, and so has Paulsboro. But in this situation, where these players are right now, Paulsboro's got 3 seconds to just chuck up a shot, and they got to decide, do you drive to the basket, get the easiest possible shot, tie the game and go to overtime, or do you try to win it all and go for 3 on a Hail Mary? Hodges goes for the prior. He goes in, and the shot is no good. Caravel escapes with a win after Hodges, a heavily contested shot inside. They went for the former option to tie the game. It was unsuccessful, and this game will end in regulation, and the Buccaneers will get their scheduled ride home back to Bear on time. 62-60. What a finish there. Paulsboro kept Caravel at bay. I mean, that was night and day from what we saw in the Pittman game on Friday versus Paulsboro. They didn't seem to have that same energy. Paulsboro did this time around. They were able to reset from Friday. They were able to have a weekend to rework, to regroup. I mean, obviously, Caravel and Pittman are two very different teams, and if they played each other, I think Pittman would have the edge there. But again, that's just speaking purely off of hypotheticals. That's not speaking off of any sort of statistic or anything. But for Caravel, I mean, this is the kind of game where you look at it and you say, all right, well, Paulsboro is a good team, but you know, if you're Mark Tobin, you might ask the team, why did it go down to the last buzzer? You know, I think, again, Paulsboro is sitting there where they have 18 seconds left in regulation. They're down by 2, and then Hodges brings it up the floor, and then nobody's open. You know, it's not really Paulsboro's fault that nobody was open. It's just that Caravel's defense locked them down that good. That's why Mark Tobin called that timeout. They called the timeout because not only, A, they needed it, but B, it allowed Paulsboro to regroup on offense, and it allowed Caravel, more importantly, to regroup on defense. They were able to defend better than Paulsboro was able to offend, and they were able to block any shot that they got. I mean, that last shot that Hodges got that would have sent it to overtime ended up just being, again, a needle in a haystack. Didn't do too much there. And Caravel will... Hodges does get a selection for an all-tournament team there. Didn't hear anything from Caravel there.
And for Caravel Academy,
Mike Sheehan gets picked up for the all-tournament team. Not sure if our Mike's picked that up, but Ty Hodges and Mike Sheehan get nods for the all-tournament team. Paulsboro takes 4th. They lose to Pittman, and they lose to not Leap Academy. That is on January 7th, though. They do lose to Caravel. Final score, 62-60. Pittman and Triton on the way. If you're watching the second broadcast between these two teams, make sure you switch over to the live tab on YouTube and switch to Triton at Pittman, as they will be scored and covered as separate broadcasts. From our entire crew here at DWB, our social media coordinators Brandon Kagerland and Anthony DePalma, our graphics crew Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Liam Nolan, my producer, the executive producer of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, Vincent Vogt. I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you in 30-ish minutes with Triton and Pittman basketball right here on DWB. Have a good one, folks, and have a merry and prosperous 2025.